This is my very brief guide on using nipple shields. So I think generally in breastfeeding circles, nipple shields get a bad reputation because they're seen as causing problems. But often women are using them because there is an underlying issue already. And the nipple shields are just one way of getting the baby to the breast rather than using bottles. So nipple shields in and of themselves aren't the problem. It's whatever is causing you to need the nipple shield. That's the problem. Okay, so there's three things that I would suggest first of all when you're using a nipple shield. The first thing is to make sure that it's reasonably similar in size and shape to your nipple, and that's not always possible to do completely because there's a huge range of normal differences in nipple size, and that's not going to be represented by what's on the market. But by and large, if you pick a nipple shield that is about the width of your nipple and maybe a millimeter or two wider, that's what you're going for in diameter. You don't want one that's so wide that there's lots of space on your nipple, on the either side of your nipple. The next thing to do is just look at the length of the nipple shield and make sure that it's not too long, because there are some really long nipple shields out there, and I quite like these because they're reasonably short. Okay. Second of all, when you're putting a nipple shield on, a lot of women just tend to kind of pop it onto the end of the nipple and that's it. All right. But for some women, what will work quite well is to actually invert the nipple shield a little, apply it to the nipple, and it will actually suck up some of the nipple. Now, obviously this is a model, so it's not going to work quite as well as flesh, but you can try that. Sometimes it helps as well just to wet the nipple shield, and that kind of makes it a little bit more sticky and helps it to stick onto your breast. Okay, most nipple shields will have a short side and a wide side, and it's the short side that will go where the baby's nose is. So if you imagine that the baby is latching on across my body like this, okay, then that short side is going where the nose is going to go. Okay, so I will have to hold this nipple shield on, obviously, because this is not a sticky flesh. It is a model, so I'm going to have to hold it on. Now, the third thing that I want you to think about is how you latch your baby on a nipple shield. There's a real tendency to just latch a baby on straight on to where the nipple shield is. So yeah, just kind of go straight on like, straight into the mouth. What you actually want is to come underneath the nipple, so that the nose is lining up with the nipple shield and their chin is buried on the breast. So what that looks like is that, okay? So they're actually coming underneath the nipple shield. And what happens when you latch a baby on like that, that's kind of how they need to latch onto the breast if there isn't a nipple shield. So it's when a baby feels the breast on their chin and the nipple on their top lip, that actually encourages them to tip their head back and get a big wide latch and latch on like that. Now, if you're holding your baby, keep your hand across their chest just so that their head can tip back. Obviously, I was holding the doll just to kind of move it myself. But if you're latching your baby on, latch your baby on with your hands across the shoulders in nice and close to you. Sometimes they will latch on and you can still see a lot of the nipple shield. You can still see their mouth and their cheeks and the breast as well. So they don't have a really good latch. So what you want to do in that case is bring them in closer to you. You don't need to unlatch and start again. What you can do is just change their position when they're actually on the breast. So tuck their body in so that it's wrapped around your cage. You might need to tuck it under the other breast as well. Bring their whole body in nice and close. Make sure that they have a hand on either side, that their hands aren't tucked across their chest, because that will get in the way of a deep latch. You can sometimes just shift their body a little this way, and what that does, it just tips their head back and gets the chin onto the breast a little bit closer. And then the third thing you can try is put your hands on their shoulders and just bring them in nice and close. So what you want to see, when you look down then, what you should see is actually not very much at all. Because what you should see is that little face is really buried in the breast. Nose is still free because the head's tipped back, okay? And the cheeks are buried in the breast. You can't see their chin, you can't see their lips, you can't see your breast at all. And that's really what you're aiming for, okay?